Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 24 of the Game Groofs podcast, the Kobe episode, the all-encompassing weekly gaming podcast from us, the Goodnight Groofs. My name is Matt. Today I'm joined by Mike, Josh, and Paul. The four Groofs are here together. Guys, let's get right into it. Instead of asking you how you're doing this week or how you've been doing the past few days and if things are going well for you, instead, I want to ask everyone what the peak of their week has been. We're only going to talk about the peaks here, no valleys. So what's the best thing that happened to you this week, Paul?
Peaks here, no valleys. I really like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to cheat, of course. I'm going to steal your cheating answer, Matt. I already know what your answer is going to be, I think, and it's going to be the same as mine, which is my peak of the week has not happened yet because it is tomorrow, because it is our Game Awards stream at twitch.tv/Goodnight Groofs, where we will be getting in there and co-streaming the Game Awards with Keeley himself at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. I am hyped. I am very hyped for this. I think it's going to be, I have a lot of good stuff to look forward to this month. December is really kicking it up as one of the best months of the year for me right now. For no reason, Christmas being none of the reasons. But I am not that I'm grinching out here or anything, but it's just like there's a lot of others. It's not like I'm like, oh, I can't wait for Christmas. Like there's just a lot of cool stuff happening in December, Spider-Man being a lot of it. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. Also, it's Rachel's birthday in a week. So lots of good stuff. But Game Awards will be the peak, and I cannot wait.
You son of a bitch. You did it.
Yeah,
you stole mine.
I was waiting for this to happen.
So here's what I'll say. Specifically, my peak of the week is our co-stream for the Game Awards, not just the Game Awards. Now, we are, as Paul alluded to, we are recording this.
I didn't allude to it. I said all of this.
Let me finish. Let me finish my sentence here. As Paul alluded to, we're recording this episode the night before. Okay, so a little bit earlier than normal. We usually do record on Thursday nights, but we have the co-stream tomorrow night. So I'm just going to trust that goes perfectly well. It was a rousing success. We had hundreds of people viewing our stream on Twitch.
Specific shout out from Keeley. He actually...
Yeah. Specific.
Big thanks to Phil Spencer. We are actually the next first party Microsoft game.
We are Microsoft.
Not studio game.
They decided to buy us out. They acquired us, and they changed the name of Microsoft to Goodnight Groofs. It was a strange series of events, but they thought it was a better name, so they went with that. Anyways, Mike, what was your peak of the week?
I don't know. Probably downloading Psychonauts 2 so I could play it. At some point.
Downloading the game was the peak. You've had not a great week, my friend.
Now, with Mike's internet situation, being able to download a game can be a big deal. So I will give it that.
It's true.
My internet is not bad. What are you talking about?
It's your power situation.
Going out of your house every other week.
It's the power. Well, you're right. You need power to run the internet. And a lot of people don't know that. You need electricity.
It's not just a series of tubes. Wait, it is just a series of tubes.
It's not a big truck.
It's not a big truck.
It's a series of tubes. Josh, what was your peak of the week, sir?
I feel like you're just sick of it and just ready to get to me. Like, Jesus Christ, get through these peaks of the week.
You'd be right.
All that, all that riffraff, and I fucking it had to be Saturday. I got the Xbox Series S. I said, fuck it. I'm tired of trying to get the Series X. I don't want a PS5. So I said, you know what? Forget it. I'm not going to have any discs. I'll survive with the 500 gig download. I'm sorry, Matt. I'll survive with the 500 gig hard drive. And so far I have. It's been good. It's been a blast. It's been fun. Mine was going to be the Game Awards, but then Paul came right out the gate and butt fucked it. So thank you for that.
Well, you could be like Matt and just copy my answers. So that's
true. I could just gaslight you and say you didn't say it.
Yeah, say it and say it.
That's not what I said.
But no, yeah, it's been good. Also,
Matt's waiting to speak so much right now. I see it on his face. Anyone at home? Josh, continue, but you can just everyone at home watch the slow mo of Matt like waiting to pounce on the PS5 comment.
Also, and we'll get into this with the Watercooler, but played a lot of new games of the Series S, and it's been a hoot.
I mean, I don't have much to say. I was just gonna say, imagine not wanting a PS5 Imagine thinking that a Series S is a viable substitute for a PlayStation 5. But you know what? To each
Josh
their
and I
own.
literally just talked on replay about this and how we were kind of commenting about PS5, and we're like, we're the two groups who don't have nor plan to buy a PS5, so I don't know if we're really the least qualified to talk about this right now.
See, here's the thing: the Series S is so small, you hold it and it vibrates. It has DualSense. It's pretty fucking crazy.
Interesting fun fact about that episode of GG Replay. Actually, it's the long lost episode. It never actually aired, which is so weird. Because it hasn't been uploaded yet, and I have the login info, so
never will.
Anyway, I'm glad everyone is doing well. I'm glad Mike was able to download a video game. Let's move on to trending topics.
Variety of peaks this week.
In trending topics,
Matt, really quick, were you able to download Psychonauts 2 to your PS5?
Of course I was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a PS4 game, but I was able to download it to my PS5. It won't have DualSense features, but I was able to download it. In trending topics, I give our panelists a choice between 3 search terms. They have to tell me which term they think got the most searches over the last 7 days via stats from Google Trends. We're going to play 3 quick rounds, and right off the bat here, you're going to notice we have a theme this week. And I need you to answer these in a voice, and you're going to know right off the bat. When you make your pick, you have to answer in a voice, and it has to be according to whatever pick you make. Round 1, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander?
What the fuck?
How am I supposed to know this shit? I'm just going to do it based on Bulbasaur.
Not
That's
bad.
the only voice I know.
I love my boy Squirtle, but I'm gonna have to go for Charmander Char.
Yeah, I was...
Mike, you have to answer, and they don't count.
They
They
won't
don't count
count.
without the voice.
I know. No, I'm trying to think, because I am toying between 2.
Look at Bulbasaur vibing back there.
I know, he'd be really mad if I
He
didn't
would
pick
be.
him.
Yeah, him and his son.
Don't talk to either of them ever again.
Probably to be different, I'll go with Squirtle.
All right. Very good. The answer, Charmander. All right. So,
Yeah.
It's just the most popular.
yeah, the order went Bulbasaur,
Unfortunate.
Squirtle, Charmander.
No one's surprised. It's
Round
okay.
2, Chikorita, Totodile, or Cyndaquil?
I don't know these voices.
I know the voices very well. I love these characters, though. These are.
I don't know these voices at all.
I don't either. So just
I
make
know-
it up. Go for it.
I know Totodile's voice, I think, is Totodile. So I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Damn, that's pretty good.
I had to reach deep back in my brain to remember the TV show.
Mike, you go ahead. I don't know.
God.
Look, I could probably help you out. I definitely didn't just pause for time to look up how Cyndaquil talks. I'm gonna go with Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil.
That's really
Wow,
good.
that's
Yeah,
so
that
good.
sounds
We're
right.
going to get DMCA.
Oh my god. Why are these so high pitched? This doesn't help.
Japan.
Yeah, okay. I think Paul's right though. I think it's Totodile.
The answer,
100%.
Cyndaquil.
Why is it always the fire type?
Again,
Fire type is
bullshit.
really popular. It's annoying. But...
again, the order went Chikorita, Totodile, and then Cyndaquil. Chikorita.
So same thing.
Is
It's
Bay.
fire is the most popular, then water, then leaf. That
Look,
seems to be the.
we are all Neanderthals at heart. Fire, interesting.
Yeah.
Round 3, Trico, Mudkip, or Torchic?
Oh my goodness.
Mudkip.
What were the names?
Trico, Mudkip, or Torchic?
Matt, I just have one question for you. Do you like mudkips?
I heard you like Mudkips.
That's a reference I've not heard in a long
Yeah,
time.
no, it's
Yes. But it's what
That's
I'm banking on
100.
for this entire. It's the only reason I know the name because I once watched way too long of a 10-hour loop of Mudkip.
I'm gonna have to also honestly, not even because I don't know it, but just because if it's a Pokemon I recognize, we're gonna go with Mudkip.
yeah. And I apologize, but it's definitely Mudkip. Can't go that high.
I like that a
can't.
lot.
Well, you know what?
So high.
You'd all be wrong because it's Torchic. Yeah.
What? In what fucking
So the rule-
world?
And
Rule
here's
of that it's fire, water, grass, isn't it?
and here's what I wrote down. I wrote down in parentheses, and despite the meme, Torchic is the winner. Now, this was the closest one between fire and water, but Torchic still came out on top.
It was the same thing. Fire, water, then leaf
It
and
was,
grass
yeah,
again?
same order. Same order.
What?
Shout out to my Torchic that I played Ruby with. I played the entire game with one Pokemon, Torchic, named it KFC Chicken, and then I sent that Pokemon down the line to other further later generations of the game as well. I think it ended up in like black and white or something like that. So shout out to KFC Chicken.
I'm confused, Matt. I thought... I wish we were sponsored. That would be a good way to bring it up. I wish so. Sorry, what I don't understand here is that I thought you only played with one Pokemon. Are you supposed to play with other Pokemon?
Yeah, ideally.
I just level my starter Pokemon up powerful enough that they can beat the Elite Four, and the other ones are HM slaves. So
I will say, I just realized that I named the Pokemon Kentucky Fried Chicken twice.
Mhm.
But you know what? I was a young lad, so I didn't know anything. All right, let's move on to the big question. Oh, well, before we do that, actually, what are our favorite starters out of these? Take these 9 and pick your favorite starter.
I'm gonna go ahead and answer and say I don't have a fucking clue, because I have not played literally a single Pokemon game. But honestly, okay, fuck it.
we'll
go
Mike's
with it.
answering.
We'll go with probably Charmander.
Okay.
Because he's fire and fire cool.
That's the normie pick, so that's acceptable.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
I think
Oh,
Mike is making a pick here. He's showing off his Bulbasaur clad with sunglasses.
You can watch
Beautiful.
that at
Yeah,
youtube.com/goodnightgroofs.
Bulbasaur.
It looks like a Bulbasaur
Oh.
joining the Squirtle squad because he's got
Yeah.
the cool guy
Mhm.
sunglasses on.
Oh, I like
Yep.
that. Paul, what about you?
You know what? I love my boy Squirtle, but I think I'm gonna give it to Mudkip. I really love me some Mudkips. I like Mudkips, you might say. And I also Sapphire was my favorite gen, and I just had a lot of fun with Mudkip. So there you go.
I'm a big Chikorita fan. Chikorita is Bae. Chikorita is best grass Pokemon. Although I do like leaf grass.
I think grass. I believe
grass,
is
okay.
yeah.
I like the grass type Pokemon. I do like Cyndaquil. I will just say Gen 2, it's the best. There's nothing better than Gen 2. And when you look at the games themselves, nothing better. Love it. All right, let's move on to the big question.
I'm in
take.
pain.
Yeah, hot take there.
You know, Matt. I honestly couldn't agree more. It's the best one.
Thank you, Josh. This week,
Can we move on?
we can. This week, in an interview with Axios, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, said that today's Microsoft could have retained Bungie. Bungie, of course, helped propel the Xbox forward, beginning with Halo Combat Evolved in 2000 as a launch title for the original Xbox console. They continued their presence on Xbox with Halo 2, Halo 3, ODST, and Reach. But in 2007, Bungie and Microsoft split. Bungie would later go on to develop Destiny and its sequel and sign a 10-year publishing deal with Activision in 2010. However, Bungie ended their partnership with Activision prematurely in 2019 while retaining all IP and publishing rights to their Destiny franchise. Following Bungie's departure from Microsoft, 343 Industries was created as the new Halo development studio. 343 has overseen the development of Halo 4 and 5, a number of smaller games in the same universe, the Master Chief Collection, and now Halo Infinite. Now, reception to 343's Halo games has yet to match that of Bungie's, and speaking on Bungie, Phil Spencer said the following. At the time, they had big ambitions. They had sold their business for a certain amount of money. They saw what Halo turned into, and it's like, okay, Microsoft benefited more than Bungie did from the success of Halo. There's no other story that can be written here. Then, referencing Destiny, Phil Spencer told Axios, quote, "If you're saying, hey, I think I've got another one of those in me, I want to really take another chance, I can understand the allure of doing that as an independent company." independent company. This came up in a earlier episode of Game Groofs. When pressed on whether or not Microsoft could have kept Bungie around, Spencer ended with, quote, "Could we do it today? I think we could." So, gentlemen, that leads us to the big question, which is, what would Halo, and to a larger degree Xbox, look like today had Bungie stayed on as a Microsoft-owned studio? Would Halo still have been passed on to another developer while Bungie got to work on Destiny? Or would they have been kept around only to churn out more Halo games? Or, thinking even more speculatively, would Destiny have been a Halo universe game? Paul, let's go to you first, because we discussed this a little bit, very surface level stuff on GG Replay the other day. So tell us your thoughts on this whole thing. What would Halo have looked like today had Bungie been around? What would Bungie have turned into? What would the situation look like today?
I think this is a really tough question. You can answer it in a couple fun ways, but I think I'm just going to quickly off the top here just kind of say, I think what would happen was we would have seen a lot of brain drain from Bungie. I think if Bungie had been kept, and even if like some, major players would have stayed and there would have been some Halo diehards, I think a lot of people who were looking to move forward in gaming, people who are looking at games as a service, stuff like Destiny, stuff like the future, I think would have moved on and not brought that to Halo. I think they would have moved to maybe Activision, maybe somewhere else where that was being made, and they would have worked on something like Destiny, maybe. I will say, I don't think that would have gotten repurposed. That didn't seem, I don't know, Xbox wasn't ahead at the time. If we think about the time, if somehow they had been able to retain it, I mean, it wasn't Phil Spencer at the head at that time. Things were different. I think we would have gotten just a bunch more traditional Halo games. They would have been better. They would have had a more similar voice to the older games, probably. But I don't know if it would have changed the landscape. I'd like to imagine a world where that has happened, and the Xbox One launch went better because of, Halo 4 being a very different product. But I also see, again, a world where Bungie kind of becomes 343. I think the people at Bungie that were left would have kind of moved into, making the kind of games they made, maybe a bit better, maybe a bit true to form. And yeah, a lot of people would have left. So that's kind of how I see it. I think they would have been better custodians probably of Halo, just like with some original guard around that decided to stay. And I think that probably would have had a better outcome, but I don't think it would drastically have changed the Xbox landscape. Although I do think this would have drastically changed the landscape of games as a service in terms of Destiny, and Destiny not having a big effect. That would have been very, very different. And I would be interested to see where some of that talent would have gone and what studios and what kind of projects they would have worked on had it not been Destiny.
Paul, I'm going to jump in here because I have very similar thoughts. I'm not sure that we wouldn't have eventually seen a drop-off in quality of the Halo games anyway. Like Paul said, with the brain drain, I think it's very possible Bungie would have eventually got burnt out. They would have started phoning things in. There would have been developer turnover. So even if that wasn't necessarily the case, it would have at least felt different in the same way that it felt different with 343. Now, the idea of a Destiny-like Halo game, like in the Halo universe, is interesting, but honestly, I'm glad that Halo just is what it is. Infinite is the most, really, that Halo's ever changed, and I'm happy with that because it really isn't that much of a departure when you really think about it. It's more just like a modern take on the same thing. Bungie may have just been dead set on doing something bigger and going the games as a service route. That might just be where they were really wanting to go, and didn't feel like Microsoft was the best partner to make it work, at least at the time. So I think that everything that happened pretty much would have happened anyway. It just would have looked a little bit different. I think Bungie eventually very well could have just been like a husk of their former self, and I think that would have just been more depressing, because even though I don't love Destiny and Destiny 2, I still think that there's something about Bungie where you still have to keep your eye on them, and you never know what's going to come in the future. And obviously, even looking at Destiny 2, like, even though it is, you could say it's bloated, and there's a bunch of different confusing microtransaction type stuff and monetization going on, it still plays well. It's still a fun game to play. So I don't know. Bungie's an interesting studio to keep an eye on. I don't know if that would have been the same if they stayed at Microsoft. What about you, Josh?
I agree with both sentiments y'all shared as far as brain drain. I think that's a big given. I think, so in the event of not going too far back into that point, because frankly, I agree. I think one of the bigger points that could be made here is what could Destiny have been? Because
Yeah.
I honestly think, and this is just from the perspective of like my friend group at the time and what we were expecting from Destiny. We logged into the Destiny from the get go, and we were like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, the shooting is fantastic, the gameplay, great, but the story was trash. There was really
That
not
wizard came from the moon.
That wizard, Peter Dinklage, literally sounded about as enthused as like a trash can. Like, it just was really, really bad.
He was replaced. He was actually replaced.
He was literally replaced, and now the Ghost is 10 times better. So my main wonder is, had Bungie approached Microsoft and been like, hey, maybe we slow down on Halo right now and move on to this new idea we have. Because clearly, when it came out, they had to have had this kind of in the background, something they wanted to do. But maybe with Microsoft, it's a little more story forward. Like, the world of Destiny is really fucking neat. It's fascinating.
It's cool.
There's a lot of cool elements.
Yeah.
But the actual world building and storytelling they've done has just running like side by side with Halo. Like, Halo has outrun it. Like, and it's not even close, even with the bad Halo games. Like, so I feel like you maybe could have had a little better story direction had they maybe had a little more push from someone that was in Activision, who very clearly wanted them to have a live service game that could pump out and make more money. So I feel like you maybe could have had a different direction with Destiny in that case. But you also probably could have gotten one or two more good Halo games out of them before the brain drain happened, but then we wouldn't get Infinite. So yeah, you could kind of go both ways with it. But I'm happy looking back now that it went the way that it did, because I feel like 343 is now hitting their stride, and we're finally going to maybe move into this little new era of Halo games.
So, a couple things real quick before we get to Mike that I'm reading right now, and I totally forgot about this, but the original Destiny was announced at the PlayStation 4 reveal event, which just goes back to the whole thing where that generation, just how much PlayStation dominated, and you literally had Bungie announcing their next big game at the PlayStation 4 event.
That's what pushed me to get a PlayStation 4. Like, it was like, all right, this is it. Like, this is the console generation we got to stick with this go around.
Also, the lead composer was Paul McCartney. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Mike, what are your thoughts on this whole scenario?
I don't know that we would have gotten as much brain drain as you're putting, as you guys are saying.
Okay.
I think if Bungie was to stay with Microsoft, I think we would still get Destiny, and I think it would just be under Microsoft. So after Bungie left, 343 came in and they did the Halo anniversary travesty, and firstly, I think if Bungie stayed, we would have gotten something that was much better than what Saber did. But regardless, I feel like they were figuring out what they were going to do with the Halo brand at that point, and they were testing the waters, obviously. But I think if Bungie stays and says, hey, we want to make something different, I think Microsoft lets them. You know, Phil Spencer came into play in 2014. That's when Destiny actually was released. I feel like Microsoft probably would let them try different things, especially the Xbox culture that we know now. I mean, look at Psychonauts. They said take as much time as you want. I think we get better Halo games for sure. I don't think they go to a different developer if Bungie stays. I think they would probably fracture the team into two different teams, one that was exploring something new, aka Destiny, and one that was continuing the path of Halo. I think Halo would be more faithful to its old predecessors, and we wouldn't get the travesty of Halo 4 and 5. But I think Destiny as a whole would probably be a lot worse if they stayed. I don't think Microsoft knows how to do games as a service. I think Halo Infinite has kind of shown that. And I don't think they would have known back in 2014. So I think Destiny would have suffered. If that's okay with everyone, then cool. If not, if you like Destiny, then you're happy that they separated.
Destiny gets a lot of shit. It really does. But it really... And maybe some people would say that this is for a good reason, but they really sort of defined what the whole games as a service thing would become, where you have this online game with other people in this big world that isn't an MMO. And they really they weren't necessarily the first, but they definitely popularized it. And obviously, I'm sure there are people that are screaming at us right now as we're saying this, because they're like, yeah, they created this monster. Now, I think in the right hands, it's fine. It's actually a fantastic tool. But yeah, in the wrong hands, it's a money grubbing monster. But just to go back to the beginning of the whole thing, I think Mike made a really good point. I think they could have eventually be broken up into two teams, which also would have maybe been a revolutionary thing for Microsoft at the time. I don't know if, even in game development, I don't know if people were really thinking necessarily back then as much about breaking up one developer into two teams. But that could have been very interesting. I do think, correct me if I'm wrong, Halo was really, at least in Bungie's mind, it was always just 3 games, right?
Yes. I think John's story was always 3 games.
Okay.
I think if they stayed, I think we don't get John for 4.
Which could have been
Okay.
interesting, honestly.
That
Which
could
would have been
very-
more
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
People love the story from Reach, and I think, there's
That
definitely more
showed.
they could have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You know, it was, John's story was those 3 games, and yeah, putting him to bed would have probably been a good idea instead of milking it. Maybe trying to do something different with Halo, like a refresh, not necessarily rebooting the whole thing, but just a refresh and doing something different with it.
Go to bed, John. Get out of here.
Go to sleep. Go back to your,
Boom.
go back to your husk.
Go to your cryo chamber.
I feel like that's sort of what's happening with Infinite. It's a refresh on all of what Halo is. I don't know anything about the campaign yet. I know by the time that this is out, and actually even as of recording right now, the campaign is out. I don't know how it ends. I don't know if John is like done or what. I haven't looked up spoilers. But I think that this would be a good opportunity to put him to bed. Go to sleep, John. Go to sleep. Move on.
I have one last point. I just wanted to say that I think that the big story here, more than anything, that I think Steven Totillo from Axios was kind of getting at too. I mean, they're trying to get a gotcha headline a little bit, but I think what's so interesting here is the position that Xbox is in now, and the difference. Like you said, no one could imagine this in 2014 and 2013 and 2012 when this was happening. But the promotion of Phil Spencer to head of Xbox, the way they've gone, focused on back compatibility, focused on the games, focused on the console, focused on the experience that they lost out on entirely in the first week of E3, where they announced the
Right.
Xbox One and the PS4. I think they've done such a good job turning that around. Xbox Game Studios and Game Pass is crazy good. And, I just think that's really the cool story now, is looking at something that never would have happened before. They couldn't keep Bungie. There was no way. For Phil Spencer to say, yeah, we probably could now, and that be incredibly believable. Everyone's like, well, of course you could now. It is good, because maybe not, of course you could now. This could have gone very, very differently, and Xbox could be in a very different place had they not been the way they had in the last 5 years.
Before we move on, I'm going to ask this question, or we're going to see what everyone's answer is. Now, it's hard to answer right now because Halo Infinite literally launched today, and I would say there's a lot of people that are unhappy with it. And I don't want to call it a potential No Man's Sky situation where they have to like rebuild trust, because it's not quite to that level. But amongst a certain group of people, specifically, and this isn't not being like ageist as Paul put it in a previous episode, but it is a younger group of people who see games as being a certain way. They might have to regain some of that trust. But here's my question. Is the next Halo game, whether it's really the same team or not, is the next Halo game developed by a developer named 343 Industries?
I think definitely that it is. We talked about this a bit on today's replay. I think I've been party to this too. I think putting way too much blame on 343 here. I think 343 had a lot of issues, a lot of shakeups. There was development hell for a long time. I don't think necessarily the fault of the developers we see there now. And I think that they have done the best they can with the limits put on them. Let's say, I think the game needed 6 more months. They can't miss 2 holiday seasons, right? So, I mean, Microsoft made them come out with it. But what they did come out with here with the campaign and the multiplayer is the right stuff. I think they hit it enough that we go, I see what you're doing, and I can wait 6 months for this to be finished.
I generally agree. I do kind of wonder, had they released another stinker, what the reality of that would have been at this point. Maybe they would have kept the
game. If that game came out last year, they'd be gone. They'd be gone entirely.
100%. And I think that was good decision making on whoever's part to delay it, to just say, you know what, whatever, we'll wait for this holiday season and move on with it. But I think even in that case where maybe, let's say, it all kind of fell through, you had Blizzard levels of development cycle coming into this year, and it all just kind of dropped the ball, really. I feel like you could maybe be looking at someone else. Probably not Bungie. I think Bungie as a whole is done with really going exclusive with anyone again, or really, fiddling with Halo ever again. But I do kind of wonder if maybe Xbox would have been like, all right, you had your chance, 343, here you go, so-and-so. Had it dropped the ball again, but fortunately they didn't.
I would agree. I think 343 is here to stay. It really kind of shows how much of a turd they had last year with what they released this year. I feel like a lot of their development time was taking the shit that they had and trying to make it not shit, and that probably resulted in several cycles of shit, which is why there's basic features that are missing. I agree that it's not entirely 343's fault. Part of it is, but not all of it. I don't know how you get away with a UI that's designed so poorly that you have to sit there and say, we can't add this feature because it doesn't fit in our UI. What the fuck did you do with your UI? Like, why is there no architecture behind your UI to allow you to add more options?
Why is there UI and some spaghetti code? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It feels very rushed. It feels rushed, but it wasn't a rushed game. That's the weirdest thing, which just says to me they had to erase their entire homework 3 times before they turned it in. But either way, they released a game that at least feels like Halo, looks like Halo, is being well received. And I think it's funny that 2 months ago, if you told us that the campaign is probably the better part of the Halo game right now, I would have probably laughed in your face. But here we are. The multiplayer is good in terms of gameplay, but like, it's not an experience that is finished, whereas the campaign might actually be.
I just like to point out on one of the first episodes of fucking Goodnight or Game Groofs, I can't remember the name, of Space Optimism, I believe I mentioned somewhere that maybe the campaign would actually be halfway decent. Perhaps that was my blind Space Optimism. I'll have to go back and look at it, but everyone else shit on it, which was fair. I'm gonna have to see. Maybe Josh was right about something for once. Call it once in my short life.
I haven't played this campaign yet. I don't know if it's good. Let's back up a little bit. I'll play it this week.
Remember when you trashed Halo Infinite and instead cached Battlefield 2042?
Don't worry about it. It's fine. It'll be all right.
He loves you, Halo Infinite. He was never looking at Battlefield 2042. Never.
Battlefield 2042 never happened. That game simply doesn't exist. Anyways, moving on.
Imagine paying for that game.
Matt, please. What next do we have here? So a mini game. It looks like. Wow, that's something.
Decisions were made. Okay, so before we move on, real quick, this is a yes or no answer, and then we're moving on. It was 6 years between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite. Is there a new Halo title in the next 8 years? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
8 years? If you'd said 5 or 6, maybe not. 8 years, yes, definitely.
I say no. Okay. Moving on.
Put it on the fridge.
I suppose we'll know in 8 fucking years.
We'll check back in 8 years.
We're still doing this in 8 years. I'll be. I'm very happy.
I'll happily be wrong.
I'll happily be wrong. Yeah.
Okay, follow-up question for Matt. If no, then is there just no more Halo game?
No, they're
Infinite as a service that continues to be updated. Kind of?
There may eventually be, but I mean, let's look at these games as a service. These shooters like this that have gone on forever. Like, I don't see Warzone really being replaced by Call of Duty very soon. I don't see Fortnite getting replaced by a Fortnite 2 anytime soon. Like, these games are going to stick around. League of Legends, I mean, totally different genre, right? But it's been around for like almost 15 years. I just don't really see them coming out with a new one. The way that they built Infinite, what they built it as, I just don't see them replacing it anytime soon.
I do. I don't think it's built well, but that's just me.
All right, let's move on. We're going to play our first co-op minigame. This is a Year to Remember co-op edition. In a year to remember, our panelists have to answer 2 types of questions. 1, I'll give them a game title, and they have to tell me the year it initially launched. And 2, I'll give the panelists a year and a platform, and they have to try to tell me the highest scoring game on that platform in the given year. The scores are taken from Metacritic. We're going to play 6 rounds with our 3 panelists working together to make a single guess for each round. Now, if the panelists can work together to get 4 or more correct, they win. If they get 2 or fewer, then I win. If they get 3 right, then we'll do a quick tiebreaker. And since it's 3 against 1 this time, the games are a bit tougher than normal.
Oh shit!
They were hard last time.
So hard.
But you guys will be able to. You'll be able to discuss it with each other. You can say, "Well, I was here during this year playing with my friends," and you're like, "No, I was definitely in college at that time."
Well,
and
fight more is what. Okay,
that's what I'm trying. I'm trying to break us up.
we're trying to make a more interesting game. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I read co-op edition for this game and thought, oh, it's all co-op games. Cool.
No.
It's worse. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually really excited. I think this game makes sense because this is a game you want to talk about to try to figure it out. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We take suggestions for a year to remember from our $1 plus supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/Goodnight Groofs, where you can message us your suggestion. You only have to donate $1 at least, and you can get access to doing so. All right, first round.
For the low price of a 12th of hemorrhoid cream, you can get a $1 subscription to Goodnight Groofs.
What do you call that? What is our Patreon? What do we call it?
Value.
There you go. All right, first game. You have to tell me the year it came out. That game, Shadow of the Colossus.
Fuck.
All right. Well, we're not talking about the remaster. We're talking about the OG, right?
The original launch, yes.
I'm gonna go back to my earliest memory of talking about this game is when I moved to a new town. It was I'm just giving back as far as I can. 2005. So it at least is older than 2005.
87, boys. It's got to be.
Jesus.
Is
it an arcade game?
Josh.
Look. Okay. We got reason with Mike. We've got knowledge
memory
here with
me.
With memory with Paul, and then you've got heart with me. So we almost have the entire like Captain Planet like deal here.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going with 87, just based on vibe and feel with the game.
Yep. Okay,
yeah, it
so
really
Josh
feels like an 87 game.
Yeah, so Josh is out of the talk about here. Okay, so
Josh apparently doesn't know what console it came out on.
It came out on the PS 2, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I guess, Paul, do you know which came out first?
Ico came out first.
Ico came out first.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Ico came out at the same time as GTA 3. I know this because of the Donkey video.
Yep.
Which was
2001, 2.
Two.
My guess is 4.
Here's my hint to you
I think
guys.
it's either 3 or 4.
Here's my hint to you guys. I saw Ico in Blockbuster many times.
That's not helpful.
That's not helpful.
Like
Okay,
2011.
okay. Well, fuck all of you then. No more hints.
Fuck off. It does make 87 seem more believable.
It does.
Telling you, boys.
I'm feeling like an 0304.
It's one of those two. I feel like it was new.
Josh, you have input other than 87.
So hold on, we're going for score, right? That's
no.
We're...
Are you joking or
No.
we're talking about the year it came out?
That's why he said 87.
The title of the game is Year to Remember. I am an actual Neanderthal.
I thought he was saying 1987.
1987, and we were so that's why we were making fun of you so much.
Okay, so anyways,
Mike is
I'm
very
gonna
a
go,
new
unamused.
teammate.
I'm
Matt,
gonna
just
go.
Just go can cut this out. No, I'm kidding. It's so funny.
I'm gonna go back to the zoo because I'm a fucking ape. So okay, actually,
Jesus
boys.
Christ.
So
So
2000.
not 1987.
So
That's a
PS2.
hint.
Jesus fucking Christ. I'm gonna probably go with 2004 then.
I think 2004 because my thought here is that Ico, you said, I think 2001 was GTA 3, and my thought there is that they need at least maybe 3 years to come up with like something as big as Shadow of the Colossus after Ico. I think 4 is the year. It was felt kind of new, but not brand new when I talked about it in 05.
All right, is that your final answer?
I think we should final answer 4.
All right, we're going with 2004. The answer, it is mid 2000s.
Is it 3?
It is 2005.
Cock ass.
Very close. Very close.
Give me 1987.
All right, round 2.
I just didn't feel brand new when we talked about it in 05 with my school chums. Wow.
Next round.
School.
All right.
Romping through the spitties and fens.
What was the top scoring game on Metacritic in 2007 on the Xbox 360?
Halo 3.
Halo 3 is a reasonable answer because Oblivion came out in 06.
Halo 3 came out September
That feels like
2007.
a trap.
But
Yeah.
that would be so obvious. Matt and I played that together. He
When
knows that I'm going to think that game.
When did Gears of War come out?
Oh,
Which one?
fuck. I think that's
first one.
2007 or 6. Might
Fuck
be
my
6.
What are the big games?
I think
came
it's
out?
7. I think it came out in 7.
So what are we going
Gears
with?
of War.
Are we basing on the fact that Matt may be trying to do the old whoopsie toosie on us and flipping out Halo with
No,
Gears of War?
he's just he wants us to think that it's
I think
clearly
so,
Halo
too.
3.
I think it's Halo 3.
It's got to be Halo 3.
He said Xbox 360. I was just kept like building in my head, but I know he knows that.
That's the tough part. I'm gonna give it to Spore.
I think that was actually. Listen, Josh, I know where you're coming from, but 2006. Okay, actually, I don't think so. I think it was 2007.
I would lock in Halo 3, and if it's Gears of War, I'll just I'll leave the podcast for good. That'll be my last episode on the Game Groofs.
Halo 3. I'm down. Halo 3.
What about you? What are you thinking, Mike? You look like you're full of thoughts over there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Halo 3. That's why I'm just like very confused by this question.
All
gotta be
right, all
Halo
right.
3.
Here we go, Matt. Bring it on. Is it cameo elements of power? I'll shit my pants. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
That game was great.
Halo 3 locked in.
Give me Guitar Hero 3. Yeah, Halo 3.
The answer
Oh.
is BioShock.
Motherfucker!
Oh,
Of course
cock
it
ass.
is.
I never played it.
All right.
Of course you haven't.
course. It's a good game.
Tell me the year.
God damn, that hurt.
I went for the jugular.
It's a good game. You fucking play those games like World of Warcraft, you fucking piece of shit.
All right. Tell me the year that Batman Arkham Asylum came out.
2010.
10?
Here's what I'll say, and this is the last thing. I'm not gonna like go deep into it. I remember a friend of mine playing it on his gaming PC when I went to university, which was 2010 fall, and I remember him playing it and it being really new when he played it.
I don't think.
But I might be wrong.
I don't think I played it in college. Is the issue? I think I played it in high school.
Like that still would have been
And-
high school for you, isn't it? 2010.
2010.
Y'all go for it. I have no fucking clue.
Well, yeah, it would be. It would be my senior year.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
Anything, Joshua? You're just like you're giving it up here. You're not sure.
I literally thought 2009 or 2010,
Yeah,
somewhere in that range.
Arkham Asylum.
Well, let's go back too because Arkham Knight came out 2014, 15.
Sitting right there. I can.
And then
see
Arkham City was like
Check
I
that
think Arkham
copyright
City
year.
was 2012. Arkham City.
Sitting like 5 games above BioShock right now.
I'm either 09 or 010 for sure. It's one of those 010, 09 or 10. It's one of
010.
those for sure.
I'd almost go 09.
I
I'm
think
probably
that's
wrong.
safer because imagine how long it took them to
Yeah.
make City, and that was 2012. I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna say 9.
Yeah.
9.
Nine,
Boom.
nine
Locked
or
in.
only. Final
the
answer.
answer, late 2000s. 2009. You guys got it.
High five for
Finally
round,
got
boys.
one.
Let's
That's good.
go.
All right. Next game. The year is 2011. Tell me the highest scoring game on the PlayStation 3.
Oh God.
No shot. I've never played a PlayStation 3. So.
Me neither. Never played a PlayStation 3.
None of us have played PlayStation 3. We're all fucking 360 lads.
But
What
I
year?
mean,
What year was it?
2011.
Year 11, back when Jesus was first playing the PS3.
Is that Infamous? Maybe. I have no idea.
Second Son came out when PS4 came out, but I don't know what
14,
Infamous it would have been on there. It would have been like
Infamous came
3
out
or 2 or something. It wouldn't have been the
Infamous
original.
came out when Prototype came out.
That
And
was 08 or 9.
And Last of Us
08.
was 12, right?
Last of Us was
Last of Us came out literally at the end of the PlayStation 3's
Yep,
era.
like the last. Fuck, 2011 is
The
like a
Last
dark
of
year
Us.
for me. I really didn't play a lot of games that weren't Halo.
I
Jesus,
didn't play a lot of games that were
I played
COD or FIFA.
I played all Halo Reach and FIFA 11 at that year.
Yeah, a lot of Call of Duty. Fuck, this is a toughie, boys. When did God of War come out?
Well, which God
Not-
of War, right?
I
That
guess-
was-
Wait. Are we overthinking this? Is it not just Skyrim?
Oh, I'm gonna say that. Yeah, let's go for that. 'Cause
Fuck
we
it.
have no
Yeah.
fucking idea otherwise. So let's just start.
Let's just go Skyrim, whatever. Bring us to the promised land, God
Yeah.
Howard.
Love it. Oh, you're awake.
Your final answer?
Yeah, we're finally awake.
All right. So, one thing I'll say, this was somewhat of a trick question because you'll remember that Skyrim was notoriously bad on the PlayStation 3.
None of us would remember because we didn't have one.
I do remember hearing about the bugs, actually.
The answer, Batman Arkham City.
Oh, you.
Ain't no way we could have guessed that.
You motherfucker. I forgot that happened.
All right.
Okay, we can still tie this. We can still tie. We can't win.
Two more.
We can tie.
Two more. Next one. Tell me the year that this game came out. The game is Nier Automata or Automata, however you want to say it.
Josh.
Fuck! I didn't play it when it came out, but if I had to guess, I would say, okay, hold on. Nier Replicant came out in the early 2010s.
My guess is 17. I
my
remember
guess was-
Donkey made a video. And
My guess was going to be 17.
Mike? Let's say 17.
I don't know.
My
I
guess
didn't
is
play it
17.
on release.
I don't
I
think
think
it's
I didn't
17
like
or
it,
18
so-
was the Donkey video.
I think it's 17 because 17 was not a great year for video games, and Donkey made a point about that.
Yep,
It's got to
yep.
be it.
Yep.
Nier Replicant came out this year. That's the remake of the original Nier.
Oh, yeah.
Now, or a remaster,
Yeah.
maybe. Now, I will say, Nier Automata did come out in 2017. Very good.
Hey.
Let's go.
Good job, guys.
Thank you, Donkey. Thanks, Jason.
Donkey.
Okay, the final round. The final round. Tell me the top scoring game in 2003 on the
Jesus.
Nintendo GameCube.
GameCube. I never know my Nintendo scores because I was too young and I didn't.
I didn't have a GameCube.
I
Me neither.
was okay. I would have been 11 in 2003. That doesn't help me.
I basically played NCAA football up until like 2007. That's it.
I'll know that
When-
I think I got a PS2 that year for Christmas, and I stopped caring as much about my GameCube. So that's like one of the last years I played GameCube. So I'll remember that day. Was that Sunshine?
I was going to say
Sunshine
Sunshine, or
was-
did
Sunshine
Animal
was
Crossing come
02,
out?
I think.
Could be Animal Crossing, but the thing is, like, I would have got Sunshine if I was still playing GameCube, and I
No,
kind of
Sunshine-
stopped
hold
in
on.
that year.
Let's see. Mario 64 came out in 96.
6, yep.
Which gives it Sunshine very well could have been. I don't know. I feel like Sunshine's 02. When did Brawl come out?
Before. All right, well, Brawl's Wii, but Melee came out before that because I
Me.
got it when I got my GameCube, and that was before then.
there's a launch title.
It was, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I never played Sunshine because it was after I stopped playing GameCube.
I think it's Sunshine.
I think it is. I get what you're saying though, Mike. Like Animal Crossing
I don't know.
has some feeling, but I think I'm gonna go
could
Sunshine
be.
just because I almost think that Sunshine could have been 04, but that seems late. So I think it's Sunshine. I'm locking in Sunshine myself.
I'll go final answer Sunshine.
You guys are smart. A lot of people think Sunshine was a launch title on the GameCube. It was not. However,
Oh no.
the correct Sunshine came out in 2002. The correct answer
Just
is The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Ah shit.
I
I
win.
forgot about that bad boy.
Damn, we were so close to tying. We got all the way to the end, though. That's a tight game for people listening at home if they haven't tuned out by now.
I should have relied on the one time I saw Sunshine in that fucking re-release on the Switch.
Do you have a tiebreaker question already ready, Matt?
I did not. No.
Oh,
But
okay,
I don't have to worry about it because I win. So
Wow, you did.
fuck you.
I am the whiz. Yeah.
My man knew he was gonna win. He was like, "Nah,
You
fuck
do.
these kids."
Next time
like
we
if you-
play this game, he's just gonna be like, "What? Everything's on the PS3,
Yeah.
or PS2,
Yeah.
There you go.
or the PS4."
What's the game that's the best
Great
DualSense features? The
consoles,
answer is all of
fantastic
them.
consoles.
They all have the best DualSense features. Yeah.
All right.
It's like when you don't write a consolation speech because you just know you're gonna win.
All right, let's take a quick break around the water cooler to discuss the games that we have been playing this week. I'll go first just because it's not too much. I will say Paul's probably going to chime in on this one a little bit, but played Fortnite. It had been a while. We played the end event for Chapter 2 going into Chapter 3. Now, here's what I'm going to say, and I think Paul has similar thoughts on this, but I really don't like how Epic does these big events that get you all hype, and then they shut the game down for a day or two. Now, here's my thing. I can see this totally hyping kids up, where it's like, it becomes like the talk of the playground. It's like the recess talk the next day at school or whatever. But for me, like, I do the event and I'm hyped up. I'm like, I'm ready to go play some of this. But then the game's down for a day or two. It's just deflating. It kills the hype. I am ready to just move on to something else. Fortnite isn't my end all. You know, of course, I'm probably not weighted as heavily in their monetary calculations because I'm not the one spending a bunch of money on it. So they are worrying about the people who get hyped up and just play Fortnite. But it is a little bit frustrating. And Paul, well, I'm sure you'll have something to say about that, but I'm just going to run through real quick because I didn't play a whole lot. I played a little bit of It Takes Two, though. Played a little couch co-op with the wife. It's at least the first 2 levels are way more true platformery, like action platformer than I expected. I know Mike had told me in Discord the game does change a little bit. It gets a little bit different. There's some different gameplay elements that get introduced, but I do like how the 2 chapters or levels or whatever they call them are totally different. Like, you get a different set of abilities and stuff like that. And so far, the way that you could do like a co-op platformer where you actually have to have teamwork, it's hard to imagine a way that it could be done better. And I know that that's sort of Hazelight's thing now, like perfecting that sort of gameplay. So I'm loving It Takes Two, but I'm already hyped for what they do next because this is like their thing, and no one is quite as good as them at this specific kind of gameplay. So I'm excited about it. It's been a lot of fun. And then finally, not a game, but I do want to mention that I watched the first 5 episodes of Arcane. Finally. It's so good. I loved the first 4 episodes. The latest one, episode 5, I didn't love it, but it wasn't bad. It definitely wasn't bad. It's just totally different. It's like focusing more on like the romances between different characters and stuff like that. And
the best part of the show.
of course. And a weird self-insert from Imagine Dragons, which was kind of strange, but it is what it is. It didn't bother me like I can imagine people on Reddit losing their goddamn minds over it, probably. But the show has some of the best animation I've ever seen. Right next to Into the Spider-Verse. I will say the animation way more fluid than I thought. I thought it'd be more similar to Into the Spider-Verse. I likened it on a GG replay to those intro cinematics to Battle for Azeroth, I think was what we were talking about, where it's not quite fluid animation. I don't know where I got that from, maybe from a trailer, but watching the show, I mean, it's like normal animation. It's just like, it's almost like watching a painting being animated. It's so crazy. Or like concept art for a video game being animated. It's nuts. Like, it's so impressive. It just makes me insanely hyped for the Runeterra MMO. I actually tweeted it out. I tagged Ghostcrawler in it. He liked it, so he saw my tweet. I'm happy about that. He read my tweet. But it makes me want to play Ruined King, and that's not normally my typical type of game, but it's something that I think I could get into. It makes me want to play that. It makes me want to get back into Legends of Runeterra. So yeah, I'm I'm hyped. I'm loving Arcane. It's a fantastic show, and I can't wait for the next season. And I can't wait to. I'm suddenly like a Riot fan now. Like I don't even play League of Legends. I don't play all of their games, but like I am excited with what they're doing. They're doing some really cool shit.
So Matt, League of Legends Groof Night when?
I downloaded Wild Rift tonight on my phone. I downloaded Wild Rift, and I put Legends of Runeterra back on my phone tonight. So it's coming soon. Anyway, if anyone wants to Paul, we'll go to you next because Paul, I know you have watched Arcane. You played the Fortnite event with me, so we'll go to you now. If you want to comment on those things as well, maybe you can, and then let's go into what you were playing this week.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, just trying to play it cool, but I also want to talk about the fact that I think you just expected me to talk over you, and I was trying not to. So, right.
Well, you get used to it after a while, so it just becomes habit.
It's been many years. Yeah. So no, I'm trying to work on it, Matt. Okay. So yeah, I definitely played the new Fortnite season. So listen, yeah, we played the end. The event was kind of underwhelming. I wasn't really paying too much attention. I played every season in Chapter 2 to a degree, but certainly the last couple seasons I've fallen off of a bit. But yeah, the event was okay. The Ice Queen stuff, the Cube stuff, it was fine. I was more hyped for the new season and the new map, of course, because I think a lot of people were kind of getting sick of the Chapter 2 map.
Oh, yeah.
People were hoping that change was going to come. People wanted some stuff more reminiscent of Chapter 1. We got it. We got it a ton. A lot of old school and revamped spaces that were in Chapter 1 coming back on the map, being changed. A lot of cool stuff. The story is pretty interesting. I really didn't expect The Rock to be Dwayne Johnson. Like I didn't expect the Foundation, when they said he's played by Dwayne Johnson, to fucking take off his helmet and have an animated face of The Rock there. That was pretty wild. But yeah, overall it was an okay event. The season, however, is a lot of fun. I probably put maybe 4 or 5 hours yesterday into the season. I played a lot. I bought the battle pass, of course. I'm all in. Spidey's in it. What am I gonna do? There's like special.
Is he the level 100 skin in the battle pass?
No, I think he's like level 80 or 90.
Okay.
And then there's like a special recolor, and there's a Future Foundation version, and it's really cool. The actual like Spidey stuff is fine. Like there's a Daily Bugle area, which is kind of fun. There's like webs all over the map too that you can bounce off of and stuff. There's just like little homage stuff, which is fun. Some of the other characters are really cool. I'm playing the main character, or like the first battle pass unlock, which is this like kind of Indian designed, like I don't know. It's a woman who's got like cool body mods, and she's got like all this like lotus flower stuff. It's really cool. I'm really into her whole vibe, and there's a bunch of cool characters like that. So I'm having a blast. The sliding mechanic is super fun. It's a little crazy, but the meta is totally different. I don't want to get too crazy, but like they got rid of the pump shotgun, they got rid of the tactical shotgun, they put in new because like the whole thing was like build, jump, shotgun. That was the game, and the game is totally different now because they've gotten rid of the shotguns. They only have like some weaker ones now. It's a lot more. They have like way crazier assault rifles that are a little different now and have different power. And so the game is a lot more like spray your gun and a little bit less like build shotgun. And I'm more of a spray your gun kind of guy, so I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I'm excited to do more of that. I'm only about level 12 or 13 right now, but it's a good time. Yeah, and also we played a bit of Halo this week, which was fun. All of us actually got on the weekend, and Matt and I played, and I've played a bit myself personally, and it's a good time. I think there's still, all the same complaints you can have that are there, but overall it's a really fun game to just drop into. It's so easy to get into, get a match. Yeah, there's a few little buggy things, but once you get your group in there, it mostly works unless one person crashes and then you have to like start. But it's fun. We had a lot of fun. So I'm excited for more stuff there. I am kind of reaching a point where like the new Fortnite season's cool. I'm kind of reaching a point now like where novelty is more important. So that's why I've kind of like gotten back into Fortnite a bit and kind of dropped off Halo just a tiny bit because it's just a lot of the same maps, same modes, same everything. Yeah, I'm kind of excited, but not the sames that I like. Like I'm always going to the same Slayer playlist, but all the same stuff I also don't like over and over again. So I'm excited for more dedicated playlists and SWAT and a bunch of other modes that are going to be put in, some by the end of this year, hopefully, and some that are early into next year. I think that's going to definitely get me back into Halo. This will be a game that I keep playing. But yeah, it's definitely, I'm probably going to backburner it a tiny bit now as I go far into the FOMO of the Fortnite season.
Yeah, I didn't even mark down that I played Halo Infinite this week, but you're absolutely right. We played a decent amount of Halo. It's almost become one of those just like, that's just sort of normal what I'm doing during the week now. Like, it's not even noteworthy. It's just like Halo's one of those things. Like, if I have some extra time, if all the guys are available to jump in, that's what we're doing. You know, it almost goes without thinking at this point, just because we're having so much fun with it. Josh, what did you play this week, sir?
You know, it's been some new games as opposed to the usual, which is going to be shocking for y'all.
New games?
No, I literally didn't play World of Warcraft this week, or Final Fantasy. I did play Halo, but that's a given.
That's the first step, Josh, and we're really proud of you for not playing WoW this week.
It's really been hard, but I'll get there. Thank you, Paul, for your support. But honestly, I just to kind of keep it brief, because there's so many games I've played just like while I've had the new Series S, and actually been getting back into like couch console gaming, which has been really, really nice. There's been 2 games in particular that I picked up and played. The first one I'll talk about is Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is so fucking good.
One of the best games of all time.
It's literally me and Kayla, like my wife, have just had a blast. Just like Kayla has helped me through some of it because I'm a fucking ape and struggle with even the most basic of like puzzles and platformers, Mike, you know all too well. It can be kind of a struggle for me, so she helps me a lot with a lot of the like more difficult segments, and then the fighting segments are actually really satisfying and fun to do, and kind of discovering all the new areas is just a blast. I can't believe I haven't played it up to this point, because it's not like it's an expensive PC title. So really awesome that it's on Game Pass, and it's super fun to play on like the big surround sound, 4K, all that good stuff. And then the second game that is really like almost taken me by surprise, I kind of had a feeling it was going to grip me, was Scarlet Nexus. Scarlet Nexus has been so fucking fun. It's basically just Persona, just with combat I like, which is just more action-based combat, and holy shit, it's been fun. It's weeby. It's fucking anime-ish. It's great. I love it. It's so much fun. The RPG elements are really neat. Honestly, if I could go back, I'd probably change my RPG of the year and go change it to Scarlet Nexus instead of Monster Hunter Rise. I'm not changing it though, Mike. Don't worry. This is well after the Game Awards have happened when this releases.
So he's just saying, just in case it actually did win, he would have changed it if he could have.
Exactly. I'm going for the double pick here, though. But Scarlet Nexus has been a blast. I've enjoyed it, and it's overall, it's just been nice to get back into couch gaming again after being on PC and just kind of going through the motions in gaming for the past year or so.
Yeah, that's why I love console gaming so much. It's so easy to just relax on the couch and hang out, and my wife loves to watch a lot of the games that I play, and yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah,
Hollow Knight's one of those games where like I totally should have like recommended it to you in the past. I just overlooked it, but yeah, of course it's a game that you like. Like it makes total sense. Mike, what did you play this week?
I was going to say, Matt, you wouldn't have to recommend it to him, because both of these are games that I've told Josh to play like 3, 4, 5 times. He just doesn't listen. Never listens. I think I told him about Scarlet Nexus when it was released. I was like, you should play this game.
Like, you mentioned it on the show, I think. I remember.
You did 100%. And then I was just like, Game Pass. Scarlet Nexus is here for free. Neat.
Perfect.
It's on Game Pass on launch.
Don't worry about it.
He's a stubborn boy.
Anyways, yeah, he's very stubborn. I played Halo.
You played a lot of Halo.
I played a lot of Halo.
So Mike has played more than all of us combined in Halo by far.
I've gotten every ultimate challenge done so far. This week's is really easy, which just makes me think that they're pulling these out of their ass, and it makes no sense. This week is headshot 15 enemies, which I'm just like, that just happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It just happens.
You can get that in a match with a pistol.
Totally.
So you can shoot someone in the head? Does it tell you when that happens? Or
I thought that was off limits.
No.
Yeah, heads off limits. No heads or balls, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. Last week was win 17 games, which is way worse. You could get 15 headshots in like 3 games. But anyways, I played a lot of Halo. I watched Arcane as well. I think it's hilarious that Imagine Dragons is now canon to Runeterra. They're just
Yeah.
there. They exist in the world.
They're interesting. I mean, like I'm not a huge Imagine Dragons fan, but I'll say like they've done a lot of like stuff for Riot in the past, and I feel like just put them in, let them be canon.
I don't really care. It just took me off guard. They can be the elite Tauren chieftain of Runeterra. I don't care.
It was better than Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones. That's all I'll say on that.
Yeah. I will say I agree with you, Matt. I think episode 5 is probably the weakest arcane episode.
Now I gotta find out what happens in this episode because I don't remember which. Is this the one where they almost
a whole lot of
nothing? If it is, then I'm all.
I just gotta say, I didn't expect a sex scene. That took me totally off guard. Wasn't expecting it. It was very strange.
I haven't watched it. What, League of Legends characters fuck?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. I mean the whole thing. That's pretty much the whole vibe here.
Who's fucking like Scion and Darius?
He gets dunked on, dude.
Anyway.
Anyways, Arcane, very good show. But yeah, I've played Halo. That's it. I didn't have much of a weekend. I was working on Groove stuff all weekend.
That's the best kind of weekend.
Just remember, Matt, that his peak of the week was downloading Psychonauts 2, so it obviously wasn't his favorite thing to be doing.
Going forward, everyone's peak of the week needs to be. My peak of the week was doing the podcast last week.
It was working under Matt's tutelage.
The great leader.
It's more so trying to figure out what the hell to do with Josh playing a video game. And giving me orders.
I have to say, I heard Josh's orders. I watched all of our on-did footage. I just want to tell everyone at home that you're going to be so excited, and you're going to really love the next Southern Fried Groofs episodes.
Yeah,
I think they're the best we've seen so far. So be excited at home.
Episode 9 coming out. Actually, as of the time this is live to non-patrons, it's already out. It's the finale. The last For the King episode. They're moving on to a new game after that. Check it out. All right, let's move on.
Oh, Matt, I'm so sorry, but I forgot 2 weeks ago because we didn't do a water cooler 2 weeks ago or last week. I played Persona 5. I put like 12 hours into it. Which is nothing. It's a fraction, but I played.
It's like a tenth of the game.
It is, it is. It legitimately, and it's fucking crazy. I actually got really into it. I haven't touched it since I played like maybe 2 or 3 days in a row, like just a fuck ton, and I was super into it. But then I kind of dropped off. But I finished the first palace with Kamoshida.
Okay.
You already finished it? Nice.
Yeah. So I finished the first. Is that good? Is that quick? I don't know. But anyway,
that's actually pretty quick. Yeah.
But I finished Kamoshida. I haven't actually finished like that. I have like 9 days left I can go do a bunch of random shit with, but I did finish the palace. So that was cool and exciting. And I really liked it. I didn't realize how like waifu-y it is. That's the whole point of the game. I now realize. Like I've been to the subreddit. The whole subreddit is just like needs a bonk from the horny dog. But that being said, like I'm sure I'm gonna be changed, but like On Takamaki is pretty great. Probably it might be my fave. I don't know what's gonna happen though, but I'm gonna keep playing at some point over time. I did pick it up, like you said, in sale, Matt, in the Black Friday sale for like $12 Canadian, which is pretty low. And I didn't get Royal, and some people online make me feel bad about it when I went to the subreddit. They're like, "Oh, you should have got Royal," but like, listen, there's like a couple extra things. It doesn't seem like it's really gonna matter. When $12 was the option versus like $60 for Royal because it wasn't on sale, so I was like, "Fuck it!" Like, I may hate this game. So I think I'll eventually work through it. I'm probably just gonna do it like finish a palace and then like take a month off and then maybe come back and finish another palace. Like I'm not like crazy enough into it, but I think it will be something that I kind of chip away at over time. But it's cool. I actually was surprised how much I liked it, and it might get me. Like it was weird. Rachel watched me play it, and a couple of times she was like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like when we go into like Kamoshida's
gets weird.
That first palace, especially, like, dude's just like such a creep that it like I feel like the game's a little bit like, we're showing how creepy he is, but like on the flip side, it's like almost feels like an excuse that you can put a bunch of creepy like section in the game. It's like a little like okay, but anyway, I'm having a good time. So I just want to let you guys know because I know you both been telling me that I should play Persona. So there you go.
Yeah, It gets worse.
It does. It's a good game to just it's one of those games, like, even if you don't like JRPGs, I feel like you're at least gonna get something out of it because it is like the peak of the genre. It's so good. It's so good. It's so fun. It's just like, I don't know, it's like a good vibes game. I don't know.
I didn't expect like the magic part of it to be so cool. Like I don't know if you guys ever watched. There was like an anime when I was a kid called Shaman King.
Oh yeah,
and that was the whole fucking thing. You're just like a dude, and then this big monster comes up behind you, and like you kind of fight with his power, and that's Persona. And I was like, oh, that's badass. That was like my favorite show as a kid. So there you go.
All right, let's move on. Cool. Audience questions. Every week we address 2 or 3 of these bad boys. Audience questions, comments, or concerns. We take questions from our supporters over on Patreon at patreon.com/Goodnight Groofs. You can leave your question in the comment section of the previous episode's post. The $1 tier, just $1, will get you access to question submissions. We also take submissions at gamegroofs@gmail.com and in the YouTube comments, but the patrons will receive priority. All right, first question comes from Jeff with a J. So not the Jeff, but Jeff with a J.
Not Geoff.
What's your personal favorite Game of the Year winner from any past Game Awards? Josh, let's go to you first.
Mine's easy, mainly just because, I mean, obviously I've enjoyed Blizzard games, but I admit I'm just going through from the game shows because there's so many different, like, options. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to the wiki. I'm rolling off that. Just based off the wiki, just what I played, I'm gonna go with Overwatch.
Okay.
I haven't played much Overwatch outside of the year it won Game of the Year. Like, there weren't a whole lot of games I was gonna be like fucking with outside of that. I just didn't really play a lot of the other ones. I mean, there was The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which basically, you know, as Mike says, ends after the Noon Wraith.
Careful.
Terribly short game. Terribly short. Save this for the roast of Matt later.
That's true. And then there's a Shield Breaking Simulator, and then there's a few other ones mixed in here.
Shield Breaking Simulator.
But there's, I mean, honestly, I just enjoyed Overwatch. I think at its release, like, even though like it is what it is now, and Overwatch 2 is taking goddamn forever to come out, I just think at its release it was the ideal perfect hero shooter, better than Team Fortress ever was, and I think it nailed it, and I think it deserved its Game of the Year. I played it religiously the year it won Game of the Year.
Yeah, Paul and I played a lot of Overwatch last year, and we had a blast. It's a really good game. It is a really good game. I'll go now. My personal favorite Game of the Year winner from past Game Awards, guys, let's be honest. This is not a shock. It's The Witcher 3. Is there any other answer that I could give you? No, probably not. It's The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3. A perfect game. Little known fact. Perfect game. Paul, what's your answer to this question?
Listen, I kind of wanted to give it to God of War because I think that is objectively out of the 2 games I'm about to say, God of War is just like a better, like just a beautiful cinematic masterpiece. I picked Overwatch.
Wow.
I fucking love Overwatch when it came out. I played the shit out of that game. Me and a buddy used to just like go to his house. It was me and my Halo friend, and we just Halo was in dire straits. We picked up Overwatch. We played tons of Overwatch constantly, all the time. Zenyatta is my boy. Maybe a little Roadhog thrown in there. It's just the fucking best. And listen, it died, and I don't think 2 for me is gonna bring me back. Maybe I'll try. It's just not the same, and Blizzard kind of sucks, and they've really killed the franchise a bit here. But they can resuscitate. But ultimately, that 2016 and especially 2017 for me, good lord, like 2017, I just like late 2016 into 2017, I just broke it up with my longtime girlfriend at the time, and I was just, I am, and I was trying to learn to like be more alone and love being alone by myself and doing my own thing. No, listen,
I can give you a couple recommendations here.
This
other
is
than
my
Overwatch.
Eat, Pray, Love. This is my Eat, Pray, Love. And I just sat there by myself, and I just got into Overwatch, and I grinded it out, and I watched YouTube videos,
you did, huh?
and I just and I had a I had a blast. Honestly, like this was just a nice because it'd been. Well, I'm just trying to say, you dicks, is that I hadn't had a long time where like I just been alone with not a lot to go on, and I had like more. I hadn't had as many social engagements, and I was kind of spending a lot of time by myself, and I just sat and I just fucking played Overwatch, and it was like and I just loved it, and I got super into it, and it was one of the last times I really got into like a shooter game before I kind of got adulty. It was kind of like my last little baby years there when this happened, and I had a really, really good time, and I probably won't be able to recreate that, but it was a blast.
I get that because honestly, 2016 Overwatch was like peak. Like literally me and like 5 other of my close friends hopping on Discord and then just like rolling in with just 6 Roadhogs.
Yeah.
The funniest fucking thing because you would just roll teams. And it'd just be a bunch of get over here.
Yeah,
with just these
I got into Donkey because his videos on Overwatch were like the funniest shit I've ever seen, and I tried to like copy that shit all the time. And I would be like Torbjorn all the time just to meme on people. Oh, it was the fucking best.
It was so good.
All right, nostalgia hour is probably over, but there you go. That's a very personal story about me for the internet.
After Paul's way of telling us that he spent 2017 cranking his hog, Mike. What's your answer to this question?
God. So I didn't prepare,
of
so
war?
I quickly... What?
You said God. I said of war.
I didn't prepare for this question at all, so I quickly brought up the Game Awards. And holy shit, this is not a good list. So
Mike is against the entire last decade of video games.
Yeah.
You see? He's,
No, Mike only likes indies though from the last decade. That's the key here.
No, I just
if only Potion Craft were a Game of the Year nominee.
We can go through the list if you want. Dragon Age Inquisition was not good. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, I'd rather stab myself. God of War,
there goes
fine.
our subs.
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is okay. There are better games on this list. The Last of Us Part 2 did not deserve it.
Well,
moving on, Overwatch is my pick because it's the only game that I played on this list that I enjoy.
Oh! I went into this thinking a very different thing was going to happen.
Overwatch
here.
rolled. Holy shit.
It was a good fucking game.
It was fucking fantastic.
They just came out
hundreds
and
of hours of my life.
They owned hero shooters. Yeah.
If you had told me before the recording of this podcast that 3 of the 4 of us would say Overwatch and I wasn't one of them, I would have just told you you're fucking insane. That's crazy.
I feel like it's crazy.
Anyway, next question. This comes from Jeff with a G. So I'm not saying it's him. I'm not saying it's Keeley himself, but it's
Jeff
I'm saying it's,
but his last name is Keeley, but with a C.
I'm not saying it's him, but I'm also saying it's not impossible. Okay. All right. What game should have won Game of the Year in the past, but didn't? All right.
Go to Josh first, so Mike and I can tag team this.
I'll go first because I'm going to spend the rest of this answer just stewing in anger.
Probably.
Okay. So here's my thing. 2016, the winner was Overwatch, as we just discussed. 3 of the 4 panelists here chose Overwatch. Now,
this made for an interesting answer for you here now because you weren't expecting the one that you're about to usurp being the one that we all loved the most. Yeah, it's really funny.
Now, I think in most years it is hard to argue against the winner. Usually they are objectively a good game. And I think Overwatch is objectively a good game. However, at the time, loot boxes were still a new thing, and it dominated the conversation with Overwatch, specifically in that year. Okay, so my issue is that you have Uncharted 4 and Inside, both nominees losing out to Overwatch. I think either of them should have won that year, but they didn't. But you guys, you love Overwatch, so I don't know. I guess you disagree. Mike, what are your thoughts on this?
On your choice,
No, I don't need your comment.
We're saving that for the roast of Matt.
No. I would agree with you that Inside probably should have won that year. I 100% agree. But anyways, I've looked at this list many times. There's one that angers me in Hades, but we'll pass that off to Paul when he gets the chance because I think there's a bigger issue here.
Oh.
And that's 2017. I forgot 2017 was there. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a phenomenal game for people who love it. Unfortunately, that's not everyone because there's a lot of people that don't like it. And on the list are two pretty big games that even Matt has said is the pinnacle of a genre, and it didn't win Game of the Year.
Yep.
So Persona 5, why didn't it win?
Wow.
Tell me that.
Now,
Mario Odyssey.
Here's the thing.
Matt,
that's my number 2.
Even your beloved Horizon Zero Dawn, which I mean probably isn't better than Breath of the Wild, but still.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that this goes back to where I feel like this one is hard to argue against because Breath of the Wild was, it's not our cup of tea, but so many people loved it. But it's also like, that was a crazy year. Horizon Zero Dawn, which I actually think I would put probably below Persona 5 and Super Mario Odyssey, although I love it. And then PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, like, yeah, okay, I respect it. I respect it, but I don't think it stands up to those other games. I do think that should have been a Super Mario Odyssey year, but it is what it is. Paul, your thoughts on this whole thing?
Sure,
we know where you're going.
Yeah, Mike let the cat out of the bag. I mean, there's a lot of great options here. I look through this list, and there's so many games that I think probably should have beat other games and blah, blah, blah. But 2020, yeah, I mean, come on. I'm late to it. So, of course, probably because it wasn't Game of the Year. I never even heard about it. No, I'm kidding. I heard about it. But I've been waiting a really long time to get Hades. I did wait until I didn't have to give them any money and play it on Game Pass. So I'm a bit of a dick there. But I really, really enjoy this game. I think it's something really unique. I got into Dead Cells and some other like roguelites in the last couple years, and that's kind of pushed me towards that genre more. And I'm just really interested in unique, well-crafted, good ambience in a roguelike game. And Hades just hits every button for me. The Greek god pantheon, the voice work, the romance, the way that they're just keeps building and building and building new mechanics and new gameplay, and all of it feels satisfying. I know, listen, it's not a big publisher game, so it's not going to win. And I know I'm late to the game here. There's a lot of good stuff that year. Mainly, I would say Ghost of Tsushima is another good choice in there too. But ultimately, yeah, I think Hades. Listen, Last of Us 2, I'm sure was. I don't want to like shit on it too much because I think it got some unearned hate and also some earned hate. But it's not my cup of tea, and I think Hades was something different that I think should have been rewarded.
Josh?
I lingered on 2015 and 2017. Not because of the reason y'all may be thinking. Not for Fallout 4. I love Fallout 4 for my own personal reasons, but it definitely not in Game of the Year.
I have more respect for you than that.
But I did have a lot of love for Bloodborne, barring a few different reasons. That said, I'm throwing it to 2017. Super Mario Odyssey was insane. Like, it's literally one of the best games I've played from 2010 to 2020. Like, it enraptured me like no other game through that decade did.
Yeah.
I had not played a Nintendo game in years, and I played that game and started it and didn't stop until I put it down. Odyssey is just that fucking good. I've tried to pick up Breath of the Wild countless times. I understand why people like it. I'm not going to just like unequivocally just shit on it. There's things I really don't like about it. But I think just as a whole, as a video game that I just want to log on, press a button, have fun, and play it, Odyssey nails that marker for me better than any other game throughout that entire generation does. I'd honestly be half tempted to give it Game of the Decade.
Yeah, honestly.
Given it was an option. I think it would probably deserve it.
You put Super Mario Odyssey in any other year, and it wins, and it's not even close.
I think Breath of the Wild just wins on namesake, honestly. Not that I think it's bad. I think it earns its spot as a top 5 game of that year, or maybe a top 5 game of the decade, maybe for some people. It's just, I don't think it necessarily earns its spot as a top game overall, like of that year based on what it is.
I think there's something about Zelda that really we don't have to talk about it forever, but I think there's something about accessibility with that game that a lot of people were drawn to the Switch and drawn to that game who hadn't previously played a lot of games before or hadn't played them since they were young. And that game really brought them in, I think, and opened up in a way for people who weren't traditionally game players. I think for people who are more into deeper games, that didn't always resonate the same way. But yeah, I think that's probably what grabbed it was like numbers and like the reach head.
My take on Zelda is that it was the first time that they've kind of said, here's a Zelda game, go do whatever you want. And on top of that, they put together a physics engine that made sense and was good. But for me, it just felt like, here's a physics engine. Congratulations, we made a physics engine. And I didn't feel the Zelda that I wanted, and that's fine. But I kind of wanted to bring up a point because I was looking through this list. There are a lot of things that I noticed. I wonder, and I guess I'll ask the three of you, do you think we'll ever see an indie win Game of the Year?
I feel like our chance was there with Hades. And it's going to take another Hades type indie to really grasp that and run with it again. I think Hades, and to Paul's point, I think Hades should have won it, and I think Last of Us 2 had no business winning it.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I just think it's going to take the right indie. Like Josh said, I think Hades. I love Last of Us Part 2, but I totally understand why people think that Hades should have won Game of the Year. I think that this year would have been a really good year for an indie to take it, and there isn't even an indie among the nominees, so I don't know. I mean, I do think it can potentially happen at some point. It's always going to be tougher. I mean, they're always going to be at a disadvantage.
I think it also, you have to consider the award show you're talking about. When you're talking about the Game Awards, you're talking about a lot of advertising, a lot of sponsorship, a lot of AAA hype for big reveals. And I just don't know if it behooves them to really give that to an indie when that's not really the audience. And I think there's other smaller publications or different, more niche publications that can give that away, and that's not going to make as much of a difference to their bottom line. But I don't want to like say that like all judging is based on that, but I think you have to, and I'm not even like shitting on Keeley because I think that like to make what he's doing a reality, you do need that sponsorship and that advertising. That's a huge, I mean, you don't need it, but it's a quick way to get there. But I think that does have some bearing on what the show is.
All right, let's move on. Let's revisit Groofstradamus.
Ooh.
In Groofstradamus, the panelists and I make predictions for the open critic scores for upcoming games. We rotate around, taking turns to guess the scores of 4 or 5 major upcoming releases. Once all the games have been released, we'll check back and see how we did, then make predictions for a new batch of games. Paul's doing, if you're audio only, Paul's doing interpretive dance on the video. All right, so here we're going to revisit last time. Last time, first off, we did Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Now, Josh wasn't on this episode, so he doesn't have last time scores. But
devastating.
I said 84, Mike said 83, Paul said 88. The actual score, 75. If we're going by closest, it's Mike. I don't know. I don't actually know how we're scoring this thing, but we're going to say Mike won this one. Even though actually, you know what? We're saying no one won this one because no one was really particularly close.
On the fly.
You know what? When you're the host, you can do that. All right, the next game.
Mike's going to do an official repeal of official protest here.
The next game was Solar Ash. Solar Ash, I said 82. Mike said 87. Paul said 78. Solar Ash got an 81. So I was only one off, so I'll take the victory on that one. The next game.
I thought it was without going over. I thought that was how we were doing this.
No,
like
we never said. No, we never said that. You're making it up.
Dude.
You're trying to make rules up as we go along. All right, the next game. Now, here's the thing. The next game was Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. I should have known that an MMO would not have a review score this soon. It didn't get a score. It has like 3 reviews. There is no open critic score. So
we're just gonna give that one to Matt. Well, just because he's closest.
We'll look at that again in the future. I said 89, Mike said 88, Paul said 91. We'll look at that next time. We've got Halo Infinite. I said 86. Mike said 87. Paul said 88. In my infinite wisdom, I said 86. So, right on the dot there.
Matt's a smug piece of shit.
Swept it.
All right, but you know what? I don't know if we're necessarily scoring Groofstradamus. I have to figure out what this game exactly is. But going forward, anyway, here we go. Here's a new batch of games. Josh, you're in this now. The first game that we're guessing the Open Critic score for comes out on January 20th. These are going to be pretty far in the future, by the way. We're not coming back to this bad boy until like in March. The first game is Rainbow Six Extraction, coming on January 20th. Josh, let's go to you first. What are you thinking?
Let me just dust off these old glasses and crystal ball here. We're going to have to give it to good old-fashioned Rainbow Six Extraction at 78.
Okay. 78. Mike, what are we thinking?
I think that they understand what they're doing with Siege, so 75.
75. Okay. Paul, where are we at?
I think we're trending downwards, and I'm saying 72.
72. Okay, I wrote 27 at first. Not that.
Oh, is that your score?
I am going to say, I'm thinking you guys all have great guesses here. Honestly, these are all fantastic guesses. It could really be anything here. I am going to say 70. We'll call it 74.
Good answer.
All right. The next game, January 28th, we have Pokemon Legends Arceus. Mike, as the resident Pokemon master, what do you think?
Looks like trash. 67.
Whoa. Okay. 67. Josh, what are you thinking?
I don't know anything about Pokemon, man. I'm going to base off the Pokemon name and go just a little bit higher than Mike's answer, 72.
72 for Pokemon Legends Arceus. Paul, what are you thinking?
I mean, I was going to say 71 to 73, somewhere in that. So 72 is right there. I think, I don't know. I think I'm going to go 73.
73. I think that's a pretty good guess. I'm going 76. I think it's going to get a little bit of a bump over Diamond and Pearl just because they at least are trying something different. I don't know if it's going to be, maybe they don't get the benefit of the doubt because of that or not. I don't know, but I'm going to give it that. The next game, Dying Light 2 Stay Human. Paul, what are you thinking? This comes out on February 4th.
Yeah, February 4th. Is that 2022, 2020, 2019? When is that? So they've changed it so many times. Yeah, I'm going to go 62. This game is going to suck. The first game was barely liked. It got like a 72 on Metacritic or something. I think this game went through development hell. I think 62 is generous, but, so were game reviewers, so 62.
Mike.
Well, I don't think the game's going to be broken on release. And, another game that went through development hell, Halo, and that got an 86. So I'm giving it a solid 80. I think they figure out the formula, and it's going to be a decent game.
Wow. Shocker. Josh, what are you saying?
I'm going to, I don't know anything about Dying Light, so I'm going to go with the funny six number, 69.
Nice. My guess is no score because I think this game's getting delayed.
If you're right,
a good guess. That's a good guess.
I know they said that they have gone gold earlier this week.
Nothing. So did Cyberpunk, and then they got delayed.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I don't think this game's coming out on February 4th. I would be shocked if it actually comes out that day. So I'm saying delayed. I don't think it's going to have a score. The next game, Horizon Forbidden West on February 18th. Paul, what do you say?
91.
Oh, 91. Okay. Josh, what are you thinking?
89.
89. Okay. Mike?
Oh, you guys are not giving Eloy enough credit. 93.
93, says Mike.
I thought of going that high, but I wasn't. I thought it's a little high, so
I'm going with 95. I think that this is
shocker.
I think this is taking the first game and just improving on it in every possible way.
Listen, you take the first game, you put DualSense features in it, 97.
That's all you need.
97.
That's all you need. And finally,
Oh my god.
on February 25th, we have Elden Ring. Josh, let's go to you first. What are we thinking for Elden Ring?
I think it'd generally be higher, was it not for the fucking normies. I'm giving it 94.
Okay, 94. Paul, what are you thinking?
Well, you know what? February 25th, 2022 would have been my grandmother's 101st birthday. May God rest her soul. Getting really personal on this one. And
So he's going with 101. It's going to break
so
open
I'm going
credit.
with 101. And she was 93 when she died, so I'm going to go with... No, I'm kidding. That's not true. But she was 91. It should have been the score. I'm going to go with 93, though. I saved my 93 for you, Mike. It's going here. Elden Ring.
I'm going to give it a 95 as well. I think Horizon...
well, he said
and Elden
94.
Ring-
He said 90. Oh, you're going to give it 95
Yes,
as well.
I'm
Sorry, I
giving it-
corrected you like I thought it was so fucking smart.
I'm giving it a 95 as well. Mike, the final score here. What are you thinking for Elden Ring?
I think Elden Ring, calling it now, 2022 Game of the Year, 97.
Whoa,
Oh, shit.
97.
I hope you're right, honestly.
Boom! You know
I'm so
why?
excited for
DualSense
Elden Ring.
features. DualSense features.
They're gonna sell it.
That'll put it over the top. Absolutely, for sure. It'll be best experienced on PlayStation 5. All right.
Best experience on PC.
Give it to me on Xbox
No.
Series.
Best,
I mean-
best Series S experience for sure. Yeah.
On PC, you'll be using the DualSense on PC though. That's
I think it'll probably be best on
No,
Nintendo
I
Switch
won't.
when they port it to Nintendo Switch and it looks like a bunch of pixels.
It looks like a bag of popcorn.
Looks like a bunch of big squares.
Lego Elden Ring. Okay, let's move on to the final segment of the day, which is the roast. We're gonna end this week's show with a short roast. I'm gonna give the panel a topic, and they're gonna give it a short roast. They may love the topic, but now is the time to end it with a knockout punch. And I say that because the topic is myself. Welcome to the roast of Matt's gaming preferences. Mike, give it to me.
Oh God. Okay.
What kind of games are we talking about here, man?
So, Matt is always super hype over the next MMO. You got Rift, you got New World. Where are they now? All I'm saying is that Ashes of Creation, you better be worried.
Oh no! Oh no!
The gauntlet is thrown.
Paul?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I tried getting into some of the games Matt loves. I really, really did. Like I bought them. I sat down, but they all weirdly end at like the 2-hour mark. It's like, it's so weird. It's like coincidentally right when I stop caring and like get really bored of them, they end. It's so fucking crazy.
If
Someone turns my console off.
If only like Sonic games, you'd be more on board.
It's weird. Moving to me at this point, it's weird you mentioned Sonic games, because if you made the new Sonic game open world with radio towers and outpost, Matt would probably be the next avid Sonic subreddit poster in no time.
Oh, that's
Jugular. I love
so harsh.
And of course, that was good. I gotta say it. But I gotta roast myself here. Now, it may be wrong, but if we ever get a subscription-based MMO RPG from Ubisoft on the PS5, then I just don't want to be right.
You'd be doomed. We'd never see you again. You go pass the ownership rights of Groofs over to someone else.
Thank you so much.
If only we could get Nolan North to voice Sonic, then we'd be somewhere.
There you go.
Imagine, please. Nolan, you want to do it?
No, I don't want that. That would be so uncomfortable.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Game Groofs podcast, the all-encompassing gaming podcast from the Goodnight Groofs. Now, if you really like the show, we encourage you to check out the Patreon at patreon.com/Goodnight Groofs, where we currently have 3 different tiers available. Any and all support is greatly appreciated and will go a long way in improving everything here at the Goodnight Groofs. The $3 plus tier will get you access to this show 2 days early. You're getting it Friday instead of Sunday.
Matt, you're telling me I go to the store, I run out of Old Spice, I'm stinking like a fish, and I go to buy a new bottle of Old Spice body wash, and for that same price, I could keep stinking and listen to Game Groofs 2 days early?
Totally.
That's smart.
Stay
That's smart,
stinking.
bro.
That's our new motto. Stay
That's
stinking.
a value. I like stay
It's not.
That's some value right there.
A special shout out to our patrons currently supporting us in the $5 plus tier, Ishmael S. and newcomer Jeremy R. A round of applause, please.
I don't want to get too personal with this, but like, listen, I'm loving Hawkeye, sir, and if you can, you can get me like a walk-on in the MCU, I'd be really appreciative.
Mr. Renner. We also ask that you take a couple minutes to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or leave a like and comment on the YouTube video. Everything helps us. Make sure to check out goodnightgroofs.com for all of our content, where you'll find this podcast, GG Replay, Southern Fried Groofs, with the finale having come out yesterday on Sunday, or Saturday, sorry, if you're listening to this on Sunday.
And a new game starting soon.
A new game starting soon. You might find some game reviews on goodnightgroofs.com as well, and more. We always have ideas brewing. We've always got stuff coming, okay? The Patreon, help us out. More's coming. Guys, any last thoughts?
Spay and neuter.
I got some.
Oh, you know what, Matt? Matt. What, Mike? Go ahead.
I wasn't allowed to talk about it because, Matt told me not to, but this came out after the Game Awards. Did you see the new Sonic trailer? Holy
That'll
shit.
do it for us here today.
Wait. Just in case anyone forgot at the top of the show, twitch.tv/goodnightgroofs will be co-streaming the Game Awards. You gotta be there.
It already happened, Paul. It
already happened.
Go back in time. No. Step into your DeLorean.
That'll be it for Game Groofs today. Thanks for listening. And Matt, do you want to clean it up here?
Take care, everyone.
Good night, Groove.